One of my students recently asked me a question, and I thought I would share it with everybody because it was a very interesting observation, and I agree with her observation. It was this: you see, generally speaking, not all the time, not everybody does this, but this does happen more often than not. When when I see a spiritual teacher or a spiritual person explaining the law of attraction, they kind of have two different dialogues with how they explain how the law of attraction works with, say, money versus relationships, right? So for example, let me explain a little bit more succinctly by using a couple of examples. With money, it's, well, just stop believing that money is scarce, stop believing that money is bad, and believe that you have money, believe that you are abundant. And that's it. That's all. Right? Just start believing that you are abundant. And I can tell you that that does work. Now, when it comes to relationships, in contrast, all of the sudden, it's this whole new dimension of sophistication. It's just way complicated to manifest, like a soulmate or something like that, right? Like a really great relationship, a really amazing lover. And it becomes very just prohibitive. There's just all these blocks and barriers, and you'll see the spiritual teacher person make statements like, well, why do you want that? Why do you want that? You got to ask yourself why you want that so bad. And are you sure you should have that? And I don't know if you should be allowed to have that. And they just kind of give you this impression like it's this big fucking deal to ask for a relationship. Whereas manifesting, say, money or a job, or a new car or something like that is like this piece of cake. It's total cinch. But when it comes to relationships, it's this big fucking ordeal, right? And I heard my student ask me this question, and I said, you're kind of right about that, actually. I noticed that too. I noticed that there seems to be this kind of disparity in how people dispense the law of attraction teaching when it comes to relationships. It's like more like, well, I don't know if you can do that. Like, that's impossible. It's like trying to manifest a fucking purple elephant with pink polka dots on it. Yeah, no, it's too hard. It's really complicated to get a relationship. Now, that is not true. I just want to start by saying that that is not true. And when I see these teachings, the way that it's being taught out there in the community, my heart just goes out to everyone because I want everyone to know how easy it really is. It is no different than manifesting, say, some money or something. Okay. Now, it is true that if we're going to manifest a human fucking being, that they are their own person with their own independent free thoughts and free will. And it's not like manifesting an inanimate object like money, right? Like the money, it's just going to show up in your bank account and that's all, right? But a person, an actual human, living, breathing person, it's a little, in your mind, it's a little different. And I think maybe that's what it is. That's kind of what drives this perception people have that manifesting, like the way that you manifest a relationship with somebody is different than you would manifest money. It's more complicated, it's more restrictive, there's more rules, it's harder to do that. And that's not true. And I think that this explains why people struggle manifesting a good relationship, because even the teachers teaching it to you are making it sound like it's more difficult and there's more rules and it's more prohibitive, and that's not true. That's not true. And so this problem, this narrative, it just it it's it's like a never-ending cycle. The cycle just goes on and on. There's your belief about it that it's hard, and then there's the teacher that says that it's hard, and then that reinforces your belief that it's hard, And then the teacher, because they were taught the same way you were, the next teacher says the same thing. And then that teacher teaches you that thing again. And then that thing, it's just this cultural myth that keeps getting passed around and around and around. And I think just bringing awareness to the fact that that is going on is 80% of fixing the problem with manifesting relationships. Okay, just for us to have this dialogue that I'm having with you today, just to be aware that there's this disparity, there's this belief that it's more difficult or something. Okay, so I think just number one, we can start right there. Let's just be conscious of the fact that there is that belief, even coming from people who are trying to teach this to you, right? Now, here's the truth. It's all in what you believe. So you just have to look at what you believe and be clear that there is a you who is aware. You are body, mind, soul. The mind is the collection of beliefs that you have. The soul is the awareness that you are. Right? So if you are the awareness, then there is a you who is aware of the beliefs that are being had by your mind or that you have, right? So just be aware of what you believe. That's always number one. So just to look at the disparity. Okay, so number two, it is no different than manifesting money or anything else for that matter. And guys, it's easy. It's easy when you look at the ego and its machinations and you understand the duality of it. It's easy. It's easy to manifest. So why don't you have whatever it is, money, time, a soulmate, whatever it is, a better job? Why don't you have? Why don't you have? Well, it's because you believe you don't have, and you might believe that you're not worthy. It's lack mentality. I don't have money. Money is hard to get. I don't have a soulmate. Soulmates are hard to get. It's hard to find somebody that's really good for me. It's no different. It's not. There's not all these sophisticated, complicated rules. There is not. There's really nothing else that needs to be said. Like, I could just stop making this video right now. Belief in lack of money, you have lack of money. Belief in lack of relationships or soulmates or worthiness. I'm not, I'm not I'm not worthy of having abundance. I'm not worthy of having a soulmate. It's the same thing, guys. It's the same thing. And the truth is, you are worthy. And you know that. However, what is you? Right. Now you see the problem. You have beliefs. You have a mind. You are the awareness. And these beliefs, guys, it's just programming. It's cultural conditioning. You got it from your parents, your peers, society at large, right? Television, the government, schools, churches, pop culture, magazines, music, whatever, right? And it's this cultural myth that gets passed around from person to person to person, even the teachers. And it's hard. And there's all these sophisticated things that you need to work through. No, there isn't. It's very simple. There's a place in your beliefs that is telling you you don't deserve it for this reason or that reason. Okay? Whatever the this reason or that reason is, we don't need to get into the sticks. You follow me? And that's where people trip themselves up. That's where people try to make it this big, sophisticated conversation that makes it look hard, is that it's like they're micro analyzing all those little reasons, but you don't need to analyze your personal reasons. You can, but and maybe it'll be therapeutic to some degree, but at the end of the day, the fact is it's really very simple. It's a belief in lack. I am worthy, I'm not worthy. I can have, I can't have. It can happen to me, it can't happen to me, right? Kind of the same general belief. Whatever your specific reasons for believing in lack may be different. And what other people do is they get into the sticks, so to speak. They get into the weeds about their specific reasons why, and it becomes this big complicated thing. But it doesn't matter. You just believe you're not worth it, or whatever. But you don't actually believe, it turns out. It turns out it is not actually you that believes that. It's the mind that believes that. It's the ego, it's the conditioning, it's the programming. And you didn't even put it there. It was put there by the society around you. And that's not to forsake society at large. I'm just making an observation. That's just what happens on our planet. That's what happens in our world. People, they fall prey to the conditioning because it's all around you. Okay, but you don't have to believe your own thoughts. Write that down. Type that in the comments. I don't have to believe my own thoughts. Type that in the comments. And you don't. You fucking don't. Most of those thoughts were not even put there by you. There is no lack of love or money for that matter. There is none. It's an illusion. It's just a belief system that you've created. And you don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe your own thoughts. It's not complicated. You don't need to get into the weeds about your specific reasons. Again, you can, but it all comes down to one simple belief. I either deserve it or I don't. And why don't you? Well, I've got all these good reasons, Kurt. No, you don't. Your ego does. Your mind does. And again, that's conditioning that you didn't put there. Everybody deserves an amazing relationship. Everybody deserves ample money. Everybody deserves good health. Everybody does. Everybody. And everybody can have those things. You just have to check your beliefs at the door. And it's simple. It's very simple. I either do deserve it or I don't. That's it. You don't need to go any deeper than that. Again, you can go deeper than that. What are my specific reasons for believing whether I do or don't? If you want to do that, if you want to get into the weeds, but you don't have to. You don't have to. And that's what my student was pointing out, is it seems like the general spiritual community puts that message out there. You know, there's a lot of people trying to explain their point of view about how the law of attraction works, and they get into all these specific details when it comes to relationships. But when it comes to money, it's like simple. And it's true, there is that disparity in the general spiritual community. And I just want to dispel that. Guys, the law of attraction works the same, whether you're trying to manifest money or a person. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Do you believe you're deserving or not? Okay. And if you find it interesting to get into the weeds and discuss with yourself why you have that belief, okay. But at the end of the day, you just have to change that belief. You got to recognize that you're not the ego. That's not what you are. You are not a collection of beliefs, and you can change them. Whatever the reasons are for why those beliefs are there, it doesn't matter. They're not real. They're not true. You are love. You deserve anything you want. You do. You do. So thank you very much for listening today. I hope this was informative for you, and I'll see you next time.